like to welcome Valentino from Heyde, who's going to speak about physics for us, and our next speaker will be mathematics. The sciences are important, so we have the male speakers last. We just want to celebrate the last
one. Good afternoon, colleagues, friends. I'm Valentino from SEED, formerly from the physics department, but I'm now working at SEED. So my talk will be on emerging technologies in the physics department. This is the layout of the presentation. I'll give you an introduction to the project, why the project was started, an overview of the e-tools that was used, the pilot group, physics first year mainstream, and just some concluding remarks. Last year in 2014, I approached the physics department to introduce them to emerging e-tools. So I told them that these e-tools, Dr. Bush and Kubrick, will assist them in a lecture and a lab environment. Let me get back to the lab environment. So students normally submit their assessment via hard copy submissions. Sometimes they put it under your door, as you all know. It's a nice surprise when you come in. And the lecturers normally provide feedback on this lab report. At times, there's minimal feedback to the student, and at times, there's no rubric attached to this report. I'm talking about personal experience, as I will show you guys later on. Another means of the students submitting the lab report is sending a lot of emails to or any other document to the lecturer. It's a flux of emails, your free space is limited on your group-wise, and you need to manage these student reports. So you need to maybe do a search function or look through all of your emails to get to that student report. The student will tell you in the corridor, Prof, I did send my report to you, it's in the email. Then you need to look through hundreds of emails, okay? And sometimes the lecturer uses his own time to print the emailed reports. It's a cost for the department's budget, okay? So when I gave them the brief introduction of what the tools can do, there was a consultation process, conceptualization, and training was provided to the lecturers. This project mainly is aligned to socio-constructivism, which is collaboration, nature of learning. So we co-designed an environment to assist with large classes. There was about 50 students in the class, and in terms of online environment, that is a large class to manage. There was also the co-creation of a scientific report template, I will get to that later, which was shared via Dr. Bush, which is one of the emerging e-tools. And this template that was co-created was aligned to an online rubric, which was created with Kubrick and Google Sheets. And that 3 steps above, because of that, the students could monitor and track their process online via this rubric, which I will get to later on. The instructional designer and the lecturer also had an introductory session with the physics first year students. We didn't tell them, look here, there's another way of submitting your lab report, you must do it that way. There was meetings in place. I had to go to the practical time of the lecturer to use like half an hour to an hour to speak to the students, providing some training on the Google apps that they will use to submit the lab report. Once the project was set up, the IRD provided constant support to both the students and the lecturer. I had to monitor a UWC Physics one-to-one Gmail account was created, so the lecturer didn't use his own personal Gmail account. A separate account was created for the purpose of the project. So I had to monitor the student queries because some of them didn't come to the training, some of them were shy to ask questions, so there's always emails that were sent to this account. I had to monitor the lab report submissions via Google Docs, and if there was any interaction between the students and the lecturer. This is an example of my third year physics lab report. As you can see there, March 2008. This is from my own experience. So you can see on the report, there was minimal feedback, and to this report, there was no rubric attached. So from a student point of view, I didn't know how to improve what was told to me on the report. So I didn't know where to go from there. It was 7 years ago. Okay, so the tools Doctopus and Kubrick. So basically, Doctopus is like, I would say, an online photocopy machine. You create one template, you send it to all the students, but you can customize it according to the student's first name, last name, student number, ID number, passport number. You can customize it according to anything. You create that within Google Sheets, and then you can distribute it. The little I, that's the icon for Kubrick, which is you can use it to create an online rubric. The students will receive customized files according to what the lecturer's preferences were for them to receive these files. You can also review when the students work on the lab reports. When it's due date, you can cut them off, so they can be an editor, but then you can only make them a viewer. Sometimes the students would submit their lab reports 5 days later. It happens. But now the lecturer has the opportunity to cut them down and stop it. So if you want to use Doctopus and Kubrick, what the user will need is, you will need a worksheet. You can create it within Google Docs, or you can copy it from existing Office platform onto Google Docs. You need to create a rubric. That's a tricky part, because there's a certain way you need to create the rubric within Google Sheets. It's not quite easy. And you also need to create a student roster, which you can get from Mesh or Canva. Now I'll show you some screenshots of the processes involved in creating the setup of this environment. You can see this is an example of a list view. You can see on your left-hand side that this student's lab reports was customized according to student number, surname, and the name of the spring constant. You can also check when the students did something using this activity, list of the lecturer and the student. So you can see when someone made editing, they opened the lab reports, did something. And this also serves as a database for the physics lab reports. This is just another view. Well, what I wanted to show here is that you can see some of the students, they changed their lab reports, because this was a template that was sent to them to work on. This is another screenshot of the Google Sheet, the class roster. So you basically have your students' details in terms of first name, last name, email, student number, etc. So you can also see here that this is customized student reports. Once again, surname, student number, surname, and the lab report. And this is a link to that student report. So gone are the days of going into your email or the hard copies piling up on your desk, gathering dust. Now you can, it's all in one file. You just click, open your rubric, which I will show you guys now, mark it, provide feedback to the students, etc. This also saves you a lot of time management, and it's easy access and navigation. Okay, what the sheet also does is, the objectives of the rubric is also inside your sheet. As you guys can see the top over there, the objectives of the rubrics with the marks and comments from the rubric. The lecturer can give overall feedback to the whole group, or you can give individual feedback. But this over here is individual feedback from the lecturer to the student. And you can also see that this is a collection of the rubric marks over there. The rubric was quite long, so I didn't include all of the objectives. Okay, this is once you decided the due date is there, you can now open your Doctopus management tool, and now the lecturer can change the student access. You can make them a viewer now, because there was first an editor. They need to be an editor in order to edit the document, obviously. But once you decide the due date is gone, they can't do anything anymore, you can change it back to viewer. Now they can only view. Once you're done marking the report, or give them another chance to do it, they can become an owner once you're done marking the report. This is an example of the rubric that was created in Google Sheets. The objectives is there and the levels. I'm not going to go through everything, but you can see this rubric was had quite a lot of ticks when the physics lecturer gave it to me. So it was shortened to be used in Google Sheets. This is an example of the student template that was sent via Doctopus. You can see the students receive this, And this was a design prac. So they got the equipment in class, and this was accompanied with a digital photo story, and they had to design something to test the spring constant or to evaluate the spring constant of different springs in the class according to color coding. So each color coded spring had a different spring constant, Newton per meter. This is another screenshot. You can see the top there. It's a customized file, and you can see here that there can be asynchronous or synchronous communication between the lecturer and the student. So the lecturer, I don't know if you guys can see, but basically he told the student that there's a function in Excel for you to calculate the gradient of data points. So you don't have to go through all of this calculation to get to the gradient. This is another example of the student basically had no idea on how to reference. You guys can see. So the lecturer told him to use Harvard style of referencing. This is another example where there was missing sections. The lecturer couldn't follow his procedure, the theory, aligned with the procedure. This is another screenshot of, so once you're in the document of the student, the rubric icon, the little I, will appear in the top right. So you need to click it, and now you can go through the document and start marking. Marks can overlap the scores that you give to the student, and as you guys can see, the objectives is on the left-hand side. I'm almost done. Once you're done marking a report, the student will receive overall feedback from the lecturer. The rubric will be embedded in an email and attached to the document. So now the student gets back the report, the rubric is attached. Now the student can see, look, I need to focus on the discussion. I got a 0 there. So now the student will know I need to focus on that and on the other objective that he didn't get a full level for that. A quick survey was done on this pilot project, and as you guys can see, the majority of the students like the online rubric and the comments associated with that rubric, and they would recommend this kind of technology to their peers. And most of the students knew about Google Docs prior to the start of the pilot. In conclusion, all of the work that we do, it's aligned to learning theories and also aligned to the national higher education imperatives. The work that we do at SEED, it also showcases us as third space professionals. We don't just go in there to tell the lecturer, this is the tool, use it, and leave them high and dry. There's an approach that involves complex processes and building and maintaining that trust relationship over time. And it also shows authentic learning environments, trying new stuff, and it was in collaboration with the physics department. This project will serve as a blueprint for the other 6 faculties on campus. Like I said, this tool is not only for lab reports, or experimental lab reports, it can be for assignments, readings, worksheets, etc. So the ID team member will customize it according to what the online environment is and to the lecturer's needs. Making use of these emerging technologies not only empowers staff, but also students. And it also means less paper, a greener future. As you guys know, UWC won the award last year for Africa's greenest campus. And this is also aligned to, or in a step in the right direction, working towards a 21st century learner, which is aligned to the IOP 2015 to 2019. Acknowledgements, Department of Physics, Technical Officer Mr. Hilton Tobias from Physics, and I didn't mention this, but there was 2 pilot projects for 2 different streams. I only have 10 minutes, or 15. And the other group was a second year physics class. Thank you.
And just to let you know, there's forthcoming research. So what we do is to collaborate now in terms of research. And Valentino is going to write about this. So the CT members, not just the clicking away. There's a lot going on, and thank you for the efforts. Thank you very much.